Look, your digital rig doesn't sound bad. It just sounds too perfect. And in the world of guitar, perfection is your enemy. We're jumping right in today because we're unpacking a concept that's literally going to change how you hear and dial in your tone. Think about it. For decades, our absolute favorite guitar tones were built on analog equipment that was beautifully, inherently flawed. But today, we plug our guitars into advanced supercomputers that spit out frequencies with ruthless, perfect accuracy. And that exact clash between what our vintage-loving ears expect and what modern digital perfection actually delivers, well, that's exactly what's causing your sonic headaches. So it brings up this massive mystery, right? Why on earth does a shiny, state-of-the-art $2,000 modeler often sound like a literal hive of angry bees when you plug it into a flat response speaker system? You know the feeling. You've got the most expensive gear, the premium impulse responses, top-tier monitors, and yet the top end of your tone is just brittle. It's harsh. It absolutely fatigues your ears after 5 minutes of playing. If you're pulling your hair out over this, trust me, you are not alone. Guys all over the internet are dealing with the exact same thing. Like, look at this user testing out their high-end modeler. They noted that even when running it into a real physical 2x12 guitar cabinet in the room, they were still getting this unnatural, nasty digital fizz in the upper frequencies. It was like this abrasive top end was practically superglued to the amp models themselves. It's a massive, nearly universal struggle, especially for players running their rigs through FR, full-range, flat-response speakers. The community forums are full of people asking why their virtual cabs, which are supposedly perfect emulations, sound so harsh in the room. Well, I've got good news. It's not user error. And actually, scratch the idea that it's a digital glitch. It's just physics. Let's dive into part 1, the forensic science. We need to look at the objective physics to figure out where this fizz is actually coming from. On one side of the ring, you've got real guitar cabinets. These are mechanically flawed, lo-fi boxes. A traditional 12-inch guitar speaker is physically incapable of pumping out super high frequencies. It naturally chokes out and rolls off right around 5 to 8 kilohertz. But on the other side, digital FR systems, PA speakers. These are engineered to be pristine, pushing a massive, perfect audio spectrum all the way from 20 hertz up to 20 kilohertz. Because the digital gear doesn't have any of those natural physical limits, it just blasts out all those harsh, high-end harmonics that a real paper speaker would normally just swallow right up. And hey, the hard data backs this up completely. Check out this frequency test on a real Fender tube amp. That black line, that's the mic placed dead center on the speaker cone. But watch what happens to the other lines when you move that mic just 1, 2, 3, or 4 inches off center. Those high frequencies violently drop off. Traditional speakers are super directional, so they literally mechanically reject high frequencies the further out you go. When we normalize that data, the impact is kind of mind-blowing. Moving an SM57 mic just a few inches off the center inherently acts as a massive high-cut filter. We are talking about stripping away up to 14 decibels of harsh treble. So in the real world, just moving a microphone an inch physically deletes the fizz. No EQ pedal required. And there's another totally physical thing happening here called speaker breakup. Now, in a high-end stereo system, a speaker moves perfectly back and forth, like a piston. But a 12-inch guitar speaker, it's absolute chaos. When you push it hard, the cone literally physically struggles to keep its shape. Different parts of the paper vibrate completely independently of each other. This nonlinear distortion, this literal struggle of paper flapping around at high speeds, inherently smooths out your tone. It creates this chaotic, beautiful natural filter that digital models capture, but flat response speakers reproduce way too cleanly. Which brings us to a really crucial point, the amp in the room illusion. See, traditional speakers beam all those harsh highs in a laser straight line right out the front. But think about how you actually play an amp at home or at a gig. You're standing 5 to 10 feet away, well off axis. Your ears are never ever jammed 1 inch into the direct center of the cone. But here's the catch. Digital impulse responses, your IRs, they are almost always recorded with a microphone shoved exactly 1 inch from the center of that dust cap. So the digital model is perfectly capturing all that abrasive high-end fizz that you normally never hear. Again, it's just too perfect. All right, so we've diagnosed the hive of bees. Let's move to part 2, the universal fix. It's time to deploy the ultimate weapon, and I call this analog softening. Now, don't think of this as degrading or ruining your audio data. No, this is a highly desirable, calculated recreation of analog hardware characteristics. We're basically going to use our digital tools to artificially impose the physical limits of paper, wood, and air back onto our tone.
So here is exactly how you execute analog softening, whether you're rocking a quad cortex, a Helix, or just a DAW plugin on your laptop. Step 1, locate the EQ block or your cabinet IR settings right at the very end of your signal chain. Next, you want to select the high cut or low pass filter option. Then grab that frequency cutoff and set it somewhere between 5 kHz and 7 kHz. Finally, just adjust the slope to a nice gentle 12 or 18 decibels per octave, strictly to your own taste.
Check out this cheat sheet from a professional studio. See that yellow line on the far right taking a massive dive downwards? That is exactly what we just dialed in. Pro mix engineers have literally been doing this for decades. Rolling off that low-pass filter around 5 to 8K is the industry standard secret for moving unwanted, brittle frequencies. You're cheating your fancy modeler by doing this. You're just acting like a world-class audio engineer. But you might be wondering why that specific range. Why 5 to 7K? Well, it's definitely not a random guess. Setting your cut right there exactly matches the natural physical roll-off of a standard 12-inch guitar speaker. It instantly chops the head off of that abrasive hiss and all that digital artifacting. It perfectly emulates the natural off-axis listening position you're used to when standing in a room. And most importantly, it safely preserves that absolutely crucial 1 to 3 kHz midrange, which, as we know, is where the actual voice and presence of the electric guitar lives. I'm telling you, the difference this makes is just staggering. Before analog softening, your tone is unnatural, it's ear-fatiguing, it's brittle, a total hive of bees. But after you apply that simple 5 to 7 kHz high cut, the whole thing transforms. It instantly becomes warm, focused, and studio polished. You are effectively making a $100 software plugin sound exactly like a mic'd-up vintage cabinet sitting in $1 million pro studio.
So the ultimate takeaway for us today is simple. Stop chasing new gear. Master your frequencies. Subscribe to the tone manual. But before you close this out, I want you to ask yourself, if your gear's perfection was ruining your tone this whole time, what other digital lies have you been sold?